It's 7 o'clock. Hello, New York City. This is Newsroom Live. I'm Stephanie Bertini coming to you live from our newsroom here on the Upper East Side. How you guys doing? We have some new information just into the newsroom. There was a bus crash. You might have heard of it. If we can roll that video, it happened in Manhattan, Murray Hill specifically. One person rushed to the hospital after a bus rammed into some scaffolding. That's what we were told. We know now it's a Port Authority bus. Nobody was on board except the driver. The driver, only minor injuries. We just got this information from the NYPD. All of this happened around 4:30 this afternoon, so in the thick of the rush hour drive. Exact location, what we have, East 41st between Lex and Park. Citizen App video shows you some of what happened there. Definitely a mess. And of course, when you mix that in with the fact that it's rush hour and the fact that we're in the gridlock time of year, extra traffic because of the holiday season. We see that every year, especially in Manhattan. Definitely something to get around. And for sure, I can assume that on the exterior, what we don't see in this video is people walking by, looking, wanting to know what's going on. That Citizen App video, though, giving us a look at it. So the silver lining here, nobody badly hurt. That bus driver should be okay. Only minor injuries, we're told. So that's good news. When something like this happens, especially when you look at the scene there, you never know exactly what the situation could be. So overall, just confirming this information, we just got this into the newsroom, our assignment desk, working to get us details on that story and many others as the night is unfolding. If you watch us on television, then you know on the broadcast side, we wrapped up just minutes ago our broadcast on television. We are now live in the newsroom here on Newsroom Live, getting ready to follow the headlines of the day. And what we do is really try to give you insight, the behind the scenes of what we're doing and kind of dig a little deeper into those top stories. Speaking of top stories, our team is following Luigi Mangione back in court today. These are pre-trial hearings, the center of it all, what evidence will be allowed in trial or not. Peter Frankel, former prosecutor and defense attorney, he's with me. Speaking of the broadcast side, you were just on TV, I think in the 6 o'clock.
Yeah,
and now you're here with us to kind of help us break this down. You know, this story, so widespread when it comes to public interest, locally, beyond, internationally, just because of who Luigi Mangione is. When we get down to what's happening in court, can you first differentiate pre-trial from, you know, when we go to trial, you know, layman's terms for us?
Absolutely. So we're in day 7, witness number 11 of these pre-trial hearings.
Right.
And the focus of these hearings is twofold. Number one, physical evidence that was recovered both at the McDonald's where he was arrested and back at the precinct where he was processed. Can the prosecution use that evidence at trial down the road?
And we're talking Altoona, Pennsylvania, right?
Well, the trial's going to be in New York.
Yeah, but we're talking about the McDonald's there.
Correct. So number one, it's the physical evidence.
Right.
Number two, and equally important, all these statements that law enforcement is attributing to Mr. Mangione, things that he said, were his Fifth Amendment rights violated? Was he given his Miranda warnings?
Right.
Were they spontaneous statements? So the judge in this case is going to have to decide whether or not only the physical evidence can be used by the prosecution, but whether the prosecution can elicit testimony from the officers who were present when Mr. Mangione allegedly made these statements. And that would look like officers saying, yes, I was with him and at this time and this is what he said. So it's twofold, and once these hearings are finished, the judge will ultimately issue a written decision indicating what, if anything, will be what we call suppressed.
You know, to distill this a little bit more for, you know, people watching that are maybe interested in this but don't have the background or the expertise. When I was in court, because I mentioned we're all kind of covering a piece of this, right? So for pre-trial last week, there was a lot of discussion over will he get a free trial, a fair trial rather, excuse me, and that's what the defense is saying. So with high-profile cases like this, that's an extra consideration. It's something that we've seen. We saw it in the Diddy case, for example.
Yeah, it's really, really difficult because, and we talk about this a lot, because this information is covered so closely by the media,
Right.
even, for example, if some of the evidence is suppressed,
Right.
much of the public has already heard about it. So it's hard to kind of unring that bell and have people forget what they heard because a judge tells them, the prosecution, they can't use the evidence. So what's going to be really crucial here is during what we call voir dire or jury selection, the defense is going to carefully question every potential juror to make sure that they can be fair and impartial,
Right.
that they don't have a bias, that they're not in some way tainted by what they have heard. Not easy to do, but they'll do their best to get that done.
And so this is especially important from what I've learned covering high-profile cases with these types of cases, because there's already, the public discourse with a case like this. I mean, this story has been going viral on social media.
Well, Stephanie, that's exactly right. And
Right.
to your point, there's been a constant battle in the courtroom between the government, the prosecution, and the defense
Right.
about what evidence the judge is allowing to be disseminated to the public, because the defense concern is you're putting all this evidence out, it's photographs, it's video. How are we ever going to get a fair trial for our client when the public already has heard all the evidence?
Right. We're looking at video, that images that we have access to. So we learned in pretrial that there was an ID given, a fake ID. We have an image of that, and we learned that in pretrial. We're looking at that backpack, the search of that backpack. We've been hearing about that in court again and again in pretrial. So the idea here, just to break this down a little further for those watching and listening tonight, is that, look, the jury hasn't been selected yet. So there's people out there that could get called. They'll be carefully vetted, whatever the proper legal terminology is when you're selecting who will sit on the jury. But it's a very, very important component when it comes to the criminal justice system, that the jury, everybody sitting on the jury, is fair and unbiased. And it's really, really hard when you're turning on the news, you're looking on your phone, and there's discourse about this. I mean, it's hard to be unbiased. And I know this, I'm a journalist, that's my job, but I know that people have biases, even subtle. So this is already a difficult feat, and so that's what the defense is saying.
Yeah, and look, we have, without question, the best criminal justice system in the world, and part of that system involves trusting potential jurors. When you ask them questions, can you be fair and impartial? Can you keep an open mind? Can I count on you to listen only to the evidence from the witness stand,
Right.
not what you may have heard in the past?
Right.
And it works most of the time.
Right.
Okay.
Everything
Sometimes
is
not.
flawed. I mean, this is life, right?
Right.
Yes.
But
yeah.
we
We
have
have to
this
have faith.
system, and we have to have faith in it.
Right.
It's the only way.
Right. Absolutely. So we're kind of looking at what the defense has been saying, and it's crucial and central to these pretrial hearings, again, is the evidence. For those of you just joining us, we're talking Luigi Mangione. It's a major story for us locally, but also a really big story around the country and beyond. This is making international headlines. So we want to now flip this conversation, and let's talk about the prosecutors. So what are they saying, and what's the comeback, I guess, to, if this is evidence, I'm paraphrasing, but if this is evidence, if this is what the police are saying they collected, this is part of the story of what happened, so to speak, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's really the million-dollar question, because the prosecution's standpoint has been from day one twofold. Number one, they were concerned that there may have been a bomb or something else in the backpack
Right.
that could have caused danger. Therefore, there existed what we refer to as exigent circumstances,
Right, and
kind
the
of an
backpack-
emergency situation.
And the backpack, to your point, that's crucial, because the whole thing is, did they need a warrant, right?
That's what the defense is saying. The
Right.
defense is saying, no, there were no exigent circumstances. You didn't search the backpack for 20 minutes. If you thought it was a bomb, you would have called the bomb squad. You would have cleared the restaurant. You would have done a lot of things that you didn't do. So
Right.
that's basically pretext. That's an excuse. It wasn't really a bomb. The prosecution has also argued that he gave a false ID. He was going to be arrested for local charges. And in Pennsylvania, there is what you call search incident to arrest. So if you're arrested, the law enforcement can search, whatever your person, whatever you have. That's the law in Pennsylvania. The defense is saying, wait, not so fast. New York law doesn't exactly say that. So they're claiming, no, you had to get a warrant, and
in
therefore
order to check that backpack.
You shouldn't have been able to go through the backpack. Now, there is a lot of evidence that was also recovered at the precinct that's incriminating. I don't see a way for the defense to really attack that evidence, but a lot of people ask, well, if the backpack gets suppressed, is that the end of the case? And the answer is no. There's so much evidence in this case that the prosecution can use. The suppression of what's in the backpack, the gun, the silencer, the manifesto, is not going to be fatal to the prosecution's case.
So another thing the prosecution is essentially saying is, you were getting on this, and then I just wanted to add the context of the backpack, because the warrant part is important for people to really understand, I think. And a lot of this is very complex. I mean, anytime you're dealing with these types of cases. But so the prosecution is also saying about the potential of an explosive or something like this guy was the subject of a manhunt out of New York City, so the cops had to do what the cops had to do.
Basically, you know, they're saying that the cops knew, there was testimony that the cops knew almost right away, or suspected almost right away, that he was the shooter. And therefore, that gave them the ability to look in the backpack because of their safety concern. And the only reason they stopped looking at it was because when they were convinced it was him, they didn't want to lay all the evidence out on the McDonald's table. They wanted to bring it back to the precinct to process it.
So again, this pretrial, this particular case, the evidence is central to what they're talking about in court. But in general, what happens in pretrial, and then what type of timeline are we looking at when we will actually see Mangione have his trial begin?
So, look, we're talking about 25 or so witnesses. It's unheard of, totally atypical. Typically, these pretrial hearings are a handful of witnesses at most. I think the defense is also going to call some witnesses. So, assuming that's all said and done next week, I'm sure that both sides are going to submit written memorandum to the judge, arguing their respective sides as to why the evidence should get suppressed or not get suppressed. And then the court is going to take some time and issue a written decision, and that will likely happen sometime in the next few months. Thereafter, a trial date will be set. If I had to guess, I would say maybe sometime in the spring, possibly fall.
So you think we'll see this in 2026?
I think so. I do think
so. Mangione is 27 years old, accused of killing United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. And so you have to understand when you're looking at something like this, as I know you do because of your background and expertise, that it's very hard for there not to be emotions when you look at this through different lenses, right? Because we've heard different narratives in public discourse. So there's the whole concept of, if you've seen that surveillance video of what Mangione is alleged to have done to the United Healthcare CEO, it's like, okay, well, if you're going to kill somebody, then, you got to go through trial and you deserve what you get. So we're hearing that narrative. The other narrative is we've also seen a lot of sympathy for this 27-year-old. And, Lisa Evers, my colleague, who I know you know very well, we were talking about this when pretrial started. We were live there at the courthouse outside. And I said, there's young ladies that are in love with this guy. I mean, this has gone viral. It's unique in that way. I mean, we've seen, I related most recently to the Diddy trial. That was another big thing where, honestly, I'd never seen anything like that in my career outside of the courthouse. There was more influencers and social media people that create content than actual journalists. Almost, it felt like you're equally weighted. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I was involved in that trial. I was in
you
the
know what I'm
courthouse.
talking about.
It was crazy. Same thing here, not to the extent, but you've got a couple of rows in the courtroom of Mangione's supporters. And it's kind of hard. Like, I understand you could take issue with the healthcare system and United Healthcare and so on and so forth, but you know, Brian Thompson's name is kind of getting lost in the shuffle.
Right.
He's the deceased, he's the victim, and we're not hearing his name all that much.
Yeah.
But the amount of support, be it through GoFundMe's or people in the courtroom or people protesting outside that's going on behalf of Mr. Mangione, it's kind of hard to get your head around.
Yeah, it is. And within your career, I'm sure you've seen, you know, up and down, all different sorts of things. Do you think that there is, when these narratives are swirling before trial, do you think that the defense in cases like this has an extra leg to say, look, is this really fair? As this continues, like, could we hear them come up with that at some point in the trial again? Like, do you know what I mean?
I do. I do. Not likely.
Yeah.
You know, it's an open courtroom. It's a public trial. Whoever wants to come down, as long as they behave themselves, is allowed to come down.
Right.
So, you know, it's not really part of the evidence. It's what's going on after the fact. So I don't think we'll hear much about that during the hearings or trial. But
we're hearing a lot of
it's a part of the process.
It is, but you're saying we're hearing a lot. You're saying that we're hearing a lot about this now because they gotta pick the jury, and that's why we're hearing a lot about this right now in pretrial.
It's a very astute point on your part. Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah,
I do.
All right. Well, Peter Franco, we always appreciate your insight. You're always so thorough in your interviews.
Thank you.
And I know we'll be talking to you again many times on this topic as we continue to cover it.
Look forward to it.
Thank you very much
My
for being
pleasure.
with us. All right,
Thank
we're going
you.
to take a quick break. It's 7:20. Hello, this is Newsroom Live. I'm Stephanie Bertini. Are you in the holiday spirit? I am. My house is decorated. I'm getting things ready. I'm a mom of a 6-year-old, so the magic is me. One of our reporters also has young kiddos, my colleague, Richard Giacovis, and he is in a very special place, a very magical place when it comes to the holiday season, Dyker Heights in Brooklyn. We're going to bring him in live. I see a lot of lights behind you, Richard.
Oh, so many lights, Stephanie. You know, Christmas doesn't get better than Dyker Heights. And I was thinking of my kids like you were thinking of yours, because I think when we come to these places, that's on the top of our minds. It's our children, because we want to see it through them. But let me tell you, if you ever have the chance to come to see Christmas lights, you must come to Dyker Heights, because that is the best of the best. And this home behind me is what started it all. I want to tell you a little bit more about it. But, you know, these are decorations that go back 40 years, 50 years, because this is what started Christmas here in Dyker Heights. Between 11th and 13th Avenues, when you go from 83rd to 86th Streets. This one's on 84th. This is Lucy Spada's house. She started this with her husband back in the 80s when they really wanted to make Christmas fun and free for anyone who wants to come and see decorations. And people still come. They bust them in. They go on tours, mostly tourists. But we get New Yorkers, too, who just want to come and see it for themselves. It's one thing to see the photos and watch it on TV. But when you come here, even on a freezing cold night like this, and let me tell you, it's cold, it doesn't get better than this.
That was my follow-up question. How cold are you, Richard? Although we know, I mean, as field reporters, it's only going to get colder for us out there, right, Richard? I mean, regardless of the assignment.
Yes, it does. We're getting no relief, Stephanie. It's either freezing cold or it rains.
Yeah,
that's life.
I was saying
in,
as we were getting
in New York.
I was saying as we were getting ready to bring you in that
fake snow.
You've been on the holiday beat because you did the tree lighting too, right? Was that you? Yes, you did. So I mean, these are good assignments.
Yes, that was me. I will say, I can't, if I had to pick, I'd obviously pick to be on the Christmas beat because I'm getting to see all these sites for myself. And I do see them, year after year, but I think if you're a New Yorker, you tend to shy away from coming because you're like, oh, that's a touristy thing to do.
Right. It's
so
far,
even though I don't live in the city, but you're like, I don't want to deal with the traffic. So I'm kind of being forced here in a way, but it's a good force.
Yeah.
Because I like the assignment and I like what I'm seeing. Can I introduce you to Lucy?
Yeah.
Come on, Lucy. Come on over. Did you see Lucy on the earlier newscast, Stephanie?
You know what? I didn't catch the earlier newscast. I was prepping for this one. I only caught the little pieces, but there she is. So I'm seeing her now.
There she is, and that's her house. And Lucy, you started this. I'm going to make you repeat it and repeat it until you turn blue. It's so cool. So tell our viewers here on Newsroom Live what this home means to you and how you could take us back in time and how it started.
Okay, I started this in 1986, me and my husband. He was a fanatic with Christmas like me. And we started decorating because there was nothing on this block that said Christmas, and we couldn't take it. So we started decorating, and we kept adding and adding year after year, year after year. Now I have the soldiers are my mother's, the nativity scene is my mother's, and the big soldier was a gift from my husband, who's no longer here. He's deceased 6 years. And I promised him that I would continue it and to keep his legacy going.
Because the feeling of Christmas and the meaning of Christmas has to be more than just looking at lights and looking at decorations. There's a meaning behind them for you.
Yes, there is. It's every year it seems like I'm bringing him back alive. And I know... Thank you.
People is applauding her over here, Stephanie.
Wow,
you hear them?
I love it.
And
for our angels, thank you for doing it.
You're welcome.
They're thanking her for doing it. So
hear
that just
that.
shows you how meaningful it is.
Yeah.
Because they...
Came from North Carolina just to see.
Wow. No, Art, stay there. I got to get you in a second, okay? So, but again, this is what Christmas is.
Yeah.
Lucy, you're like Mrs. Chris. She's also the sausage queen. If you go to the San Gennaro feast, and
I do. Have I met her? I probably met her
making
there.
the sausage and peppers.
Because she looks familiar, so I'm thinking, Richard.
Peppers. That's my job in the summer.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, Stephanie's saying you look familiar. That's why I know her. Well, hopefully, can I tease that you might want to do it outside for next year?
Yes, next year I intend to do it.
Sausage and peppers with Christmas lights.
Sausage and peppers with Christmas. Now you got to tell her that I'm another Italian, so I'm looking forward to that.
Yes, I've got a fellow Italian as an anchor tonight, so she's saying she looks forward to that. So we're all going to come to your house.
No problem.
For next year.
And if it's too cold, you come inside. And there's Christmas inside too.
There is? Oh, maybe we'll have to go look inside. We should
Love
get an
it.
exclusive on that, Lucy.
I think so.
I know. It's just that I got a very big dog in there.
Forget it. We're not coming in. All right. Well, it was a
It takes me a
thought.
long time to get him in.
It was a thought. Thank you, Lucy.
You're welcome.
Nobody does it better. Come on over here from North Carolina. Tell our viewers why you come here just for this?
Honestly, I came this year just to see Macy's 34th 2nd Street. But honestly, Lucy's house is amazing. I mean, they're selling things. It's definitely worth it to stop by, take a look at it. She worked really hard, and I love what she said about her husband. My parents love Christmas, so thank you so much for doing this.
So this is better than Macy's?
Heck yeah. It's personal. It has a
absolutely
feeling. It has a story. It talks to you. I mean, I don't even know her husband. I want to run and give her a hug because it made me.
Go ahead, go and hug her. Go ahead, go and hug her. Go ahead, go and hug her. Look at this. Look at the man hugging Lucy, because this is what Christmas is all about. The joy of the season. And you can't make this up, Stephanie. Thank you guys. I don't plan this.
I can tell it's all happening. It's all organic. Now, I was thinking as you were talking about the San Gennaro Fest, you get that gig too. You get a lot of the good ones, Richard.
I do.
We got the right one out there.
It depends, yeah.
We got the right one out there. So are your kids...
I got to represent.
Are your kids excited that that's your assignment tonight? I know they're watching. Did they watch you in the earlier shows? I guess they'll be sleeping tonight, right?
Yeah, hopefully. I don't know. Sometimes that kid
maybe
is
they'll
up
catch
late,
you on
that
the
4-year-old,
10.
3, almost soon to be 4-year-old. But yes, I will send. I'm sending him videos so he could see, and I'll FaceTime him later so he could see. He loves Christmas decorations. Is his #1 thing right now, and sprinkles.
Oh well, you know they're both kind of similar, I guess. The sprinkles on the ice cream kind of glitter, right? Yeah,
colors.
I get the theme.
Yeah.
Richard Giacovis out there, the best of the best on this assignment. Thank you so much, Richard.
All right, Steph, I'll see you in the next hour.
All right,
we got more.
All right,
the crowds are growing here in Dyker Heights.
All right, see you soon. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Okay. Good job, Lucy. You're free.
This is Newsroom Live. It's 7:30. I got another Italian with me, Lou Albanese.
Look at that shot.
Although,
look at all those monitors.
I keep telling you it's Albanese, but we're going to say Albanese. I know all you
Will
New
you
Yorkers
stop
have
with the
adapted.
Albanese?
Lou Albanese.
Albanese.
Lou
Albanese.
Albanese.
There's a lot of people that go by the name of Albanese.
I know. Well, you know the whole thing. When they came to Ellis Island, they changed a lot of our names.
That's the way it should be.
Yeah, that's the history.
You know, who are we to keep our own name?
We're not talking history, though, or Italian immigration today.
Hold on. We are talking history.
Oh, we are?
We're talking history when it comes to the Mets, because all their players now are history.
Okay,
all
so
their
what's
stars.
going on? What are they doing?
Well, because I heard that they're making a new movie out there. They're going to remake Kurt Russell's movie, Escape from New York, and the Mets join in. And Pete Alonso is escaping from New York. Edwin Diaz is escaping from New York. Brandon Nimmo was tossed away from New York.
Tossed. Very descriptive words tonight.
Well, because the other two went on their own, and then the Mets basically took Brandon Nimmo and took him on the catapult and sent him to Texas.
So, trade news, and Mets and Yankees too. So where are these franchises going?
It's a fascinating situation right now going on in baseball with the Mets and Yankees. And it's something that if you're a Met and Yankee fan right now, you got to be concerned about.
Mm-hmm.
We just had the winter meetings, and Brian Cashman saying, well, you know, there's not a lot of things happening. Things have clogged up. Really? I saw a lot of moves happening. the Mets letting guys go. I keep hearing Brian says, oh, and the Mets saying there's plenty of the offseason ahead.
Right.
But they don't seem that aggressive. You'll hear a million rumors for them, but you're not seeing them be aggressive. And I got to start worrying. If I was a Met fan or a Yankee fan, I'd worry about the payroll. Hal does not hide the fact that he doesn't want to be over $300 million payroll. They're about 280. And now I'm starting to wonder if Steve Cohen has decided to cut payroll. You know,
I feel horrible for these guys. I mean, they're really getting ripped off.
I know. $23 billion he's worth, and God forbid he'd have to pay $1.95. But no, but he's put look, Steve Cohen's not cheap. He's put a lot of money into that franchise. He's lost a lot of money, he says, and he's never shied away. But maybe he realizes, I put a lot of money in this franchise, and I haven't won. Maybe we go a different direction. And David Stern.
Well, because it's a business too, right? We got to look at it this way. And when it comes to the trade, this part is crucial to the business because it's about the season ahead.
And you worry about things like long-term contracts and things. You know, everyone's talking about a lot of things about baseball right now. But the one thing they weren't talking about when it comes to Pete's 5-year contract and this guy's 7-year contract is that next year, after next year, we're going to baseball Armageddon. Okay, the collective bargaining agreement ends. Owners have been pretty vocal about wanting a salary cap.
Right.
Players have been vocal that we're not taking a salary cap.
Okay.
And everyone seems to think, well, fear would be the word I would use, that we're going to have a lockout starting in December and no baseball for the year 2027. Literally, we'll sit out the whole season.
Has that even ever happened?
Well, we've had a couple of very bad baseball situations. Back in '81, it was the first bad one that I remember.
That's before I was born, Lou.
I was here.
Okay.
So
we are talking history tonight.
Let me read something. I wasn't here. Even I wasn't working yet. But I was. But they
he was around. He was on this earth.
The players went on strike in May.
Yeah.
They didn't come back till like end of August. They lost about 40 games or whatever.
That must have been huge,
games.
Right? At the time.
It was huge at the time because that was the first real extended work stoppage. In fact, I'll show you how huge it was. They ended up changing the postseason that year. So whoever was in first place when the strike started, they got automatic bids into the postseason.
Right.
Then whoever won the second half, whoever came in first place, they joined. And if the same team won both, then you would have the second place team. So because they didn't have an idea how to do it. Then the worst of all the strikes, the worst of all the baseball strikes was 1994. The mistake was, and the owners have since learned by that, they play without a contract, right? And then came August. The players walked out.
Right.
And everyone assumes once you walked out, they'll eventually, they'll crack. Some of them crack.
Work it out, yeah.
They didn't work it out. And they canceled the World Series that year. No World Series in 1994. Totally canceled. Then they go to the offseason.
Where was I in '94? Somewhere in elementary school.
I was working here at that time. And
you
that
remember
was
that one?
Big.
Then,
I remember that one. And then they went the whole offseason, right? And only baseball can do this. So they canceled the World Series. They stopped the games, and then the guys become free agents in baseball, and owners were signing baseball players. It's like, what are you doing? How are you signing this guy when you said you have no money and they're on strike?
Right.
Then the next year came. So now '95 was coming around, and you still had a strike going on. The players were not going to go in there. So owners decided we're going to use scabs. They literally created replacement players. A bunch of guys off the street.
What?
Yeah, Frankie from the softball league came. He tried out. He's playing second base for the Mets. Some fat guy from the beer league was playing third base for the Mets, and they went to spring training.
What we find in the sports history book.
And went to spring training with all these schlubs. They're literally schlubs. Half these guys couldn't play. There were a few players though that
They're
they
pretty
found,
good.
and they actually made the majors.
Did they draft them? Yeah.
No, they can't let them. So they were going.
You never know how you get discovered.
And they were going strong. They were going to start the season without the regular players. They were going to open the regular season. I don't know who would have bought the tickets. I have no idea how that would have worked. And then there was a meeting with the players, and there was a star player, used to be a Met. A lot of people remember Lenny Dykstra, off the wall, whatever. And the worst leaked out about a week or two before the season was going to start that Lenny told the players, I'm crossing the picket line.
I'm crossing the picket line.
I'm going to go. If they play games, I'm going to play. And there was a lot of uproar about Lenny. It leaked out about Lenny, as the players said, we crushed Lenny. And Lenny was the only guy that would do that. Then what happened was, they were so confident, the players and the union, that were big tots, they ran up to the Bronx to Judge Sotomayor. Do you know who Judge Sotomayor? She sits on the Supreme Court right now.
Yeah.
They went to her, big baseball fan,
Oh,
loved the Yankees, and she put down an injunction and said the owners cannot use replacement players in
To do
stadiums,
this.
and how they worked it out. Most of these stadiums are, basically they're publicly owned, and you can't do something. And she put the injunction down,
Yeah.
and then the players said, okay, since the injunction's down, we'll come back, we'll play without a contract.
So there's narrative out there that we could see something like this again?
You can see something like that
in
again.
2026?
In 2027.
2027.
Right,
Okay.
2027. You can see that again.
And
there's a lot of talk that
it's
could happen.
possible to already tell if that could happen?
Sure, because the hatred's going on.
Okay.
So I bring up this long-winded story to say that there could be reasons why the Mets and Yankees don't want to put all this extra money in extra long-term contracts. 'Cause
Who knows?
because you don't know what's going to happen. So let's say, for instance, the owners win. Because I happen to think, and I'm in the minority in this, the players will crack. And they're going to put a salary cap. Because there's only so many guys. Everybody talks about, Juan Soto makes $750 million, and Aaron Judge makes $400 million, and blah, blah, blah. The majority of teams have 25 to 28 players. At least 20 of them are not making that kind of money.
Right.
A lot of them.
Yeah,
a
it's
lot
only the
of them.
superstars
Right.
in
A
every
lot-
sport, right?
A lot
that
of them
make
are
those
actually
big
making
salaries.
look, for most people it's going to sound like a big number. In baseball world, it's not. 300,000, 400,000, 700,000. I think the minimum is somewhere around 700,000, somewhere around that. And it sounds great until you're not playing for a year, and your wife says, "Where the hell's my money? Where's my
And your wife.
You
Gotta
know,
bring the wife
well, that's
in
what
the
happens. The wife says,
He's been
"Why
married
are
a
we
long
not going
time,
on
I
a
guess,
trip?
you know.
Why are we not having the money?" And that's what happens.
Well,
The
if you're making
wives start screaming.
300,000, you're just like everyone else because that's not
Right.
enough in New York City.
Well, and the point is that they're not bringing that money in. And that's
Right.
when the wives get involved, and that's when the players who aren't making the millions of dollars and they see a season going saying, "What are we doing here?"
Right.
And that's how it
And that's
cracks.
all the dynamics at play. So a lot to watch
A lot
in
to watch.
baseball.
Now, I will say one last thing. Play that video of Bellinger. This guy right here is the next fight for the Mets and Yankees. I'll say this real fast. Cody Bellinger was very good with the Yankees. They got him from the Cubs. He was a guy who was made for Yankee Stadium, whatever. He's a free agent. And a lot of people think that that's going to be the Mets and the Yankees battle. The Mets and Yankees are going to be battling for Cody to see who's going to sign Cody. And that's going to be the great fight in baseball between the Mets and Yankees. That's going to be the New York battle.
All right.
All right. When we talk about the fire department and,
Yeah,
the, and,
yeah,
the,
yeah.
and the and the cops battle it out
Yeah.
and the thing
This
and they
gonna
punch
be
each
the
other
New York
out.
battle.
That's what it's going to be. All right. The Yankees are the fire department. The Mets are the cops, and they're beating each other up in the corner of 33rd and 3rd. And that's what it's going to be the fight for.
Thanks, Lou. You know we love you on Newsroom
And
Live.
that's what it's going to be.
Thanks for being with us, Lou. We're going to take a quick break, guys. It's 7:41 in the evening. It's Thursday. Hi, everyone. I'm Stephanie Bertini. This is Newsroom Live, when we bring you into our Fox 5 newsroom and dig deeper into the headlines. We go over the stories that we're covering, top stories, and also crucial to what we do here on Newsroom Live is we make sure you know the forecast. Of course, you can get it on your phone, but why not have Stephanie Bertini bring you through the forecast? Let's pull up that graphic because I hear it's getting colder. Yeah, tomorrow we will see sunshine, breezy, but when you look at those temps, I mean, 35 as a high, 26 as a low. This is a freezing time for me for sure. I just got back from Florida, guys, so I'm not loving a look at the forecast, but I do love the snow, and we might get some snow overnight on Saturday with a high of 40, a low of 26, and then it looks like Sunday we might see some snow or flurries. 30 is the high, 28 is the low. So you see that temperature really dipping from Saturday into Sunday. Monday, the cold continues, and it looks like it's going to be windy. So that component in the forecast means it might feel even a bit more chillier. So bundle up the kids. 20 is your low on Monday. Tuesday, you have a high of 35. You have some sunshine. You have some clouds. So the good thing about this forecast is minus the snow, we don't have a lot of rain because, you know, with the cold, the precipitation can make it feel even chillier out there, especially for the kiddos. On Wednesday, we are looking at a mix of sun and clouds as well. We're looking Tuesday, Wednesday, similar in terms of conditions. Actually, the rain is a factor maybe on Thursday, but overall, not a horrible forecast. It is December, and we are in the holiday spirit here in Newsroom Live here in New York City, here on Newsroom Live in New York City. Let's get to another top story that we're following, and I know you've probably heard of it already because this story is trending online. Disney investing $1 billion in OpenAI, bringing characters like Mickey Mouse, Cinderella, all your favorites to the AI company Sora's video generation tool. It's coming up in a licensing deal that the two companies just announced. So at the same time, Disney went after Google, demanding the tech company stop exploiting its copywritten characters to train its AI system. So it's interesting, that's the juxtaposition. This is happening back and forth. But nevertheless, the Sora Disney agreement, or also referred to as the OpenAI agreement, makes the Walt Disney Company the first major content licensing partner for Sora, which uses generative artificial intelligence to create short videos. Under the 3-year licensing deal, fans will be able to use Sora to generate and share videos based on more than 200 Disney, Marvel, Pixar, and Star Wars characters. My son's going to love this if it actually comes to fruition. But I think we're going to be covering more headlines like this. Of course, AI is a huge topic right now when it comes to public discourse. So a lot of people interested in this news story. Just reading the copy here that I got from the wires, but overall, this is a major headline that we're following as we continue to follow your local, national, and international stories. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're talking immigration with an immigration attorney who I know very well, and I'm excited to have this in-depth conversation as we continue covering the major headlines affecting not only our city, but our nation. This is Newsroom Live. I'm Stephanie Bertini. This is Newsroom Live. I'm Stephanie Bertini. You're looking at Kilmar Abrego Garcia, freed from immigration detention on a judge's order today. He fights to stay in the U.S., handing a major victory to the immigrant whose wrongful deportation to a notorious prison in El Salvador made a flashpoint of the Trump administration's immigration crackdown. This was a major story. A lot of you might recognize the face and or the headline, the ongoing headline. Abrego Garcia's attorney's office confirmed he was released just after 5 p.m. Today, the deadline the judge gave the government for an update on Abrego Garcia's release. His attorney, named Simon Sandoval Moschenberg, earlier told the Associated Press that Abrego Garcia plans to return to Maryland, where he has an American wife and child, and where he's lived for years after originally immigrating to the U.S. illegally as a teenager. You know, this whole topic of legal versus illegal immigration has been in headlines for years. I've covered this topic as a journalist for many years, but this year we are seeing the back and forth as the Trump administration promised the greatest mass deportation when it comes to illegal immigrants in the country. We've been covering that ongoing headline. I want to bring in immigration attorney Renata Castro. I've talked to Renata several times before, interviewed her extensively for the Migrant in America series that I was working on during our migrant crisis. Hi, Renata, how are you? I can't hear Renata, but I want to hear her. Let's see. Hi, Renata.
It's great to be here speaking.
Yeah.
It's great to be here speaking on immigration.
You know, we appreciate your valuable insight. And, you know, as an immigration attorney, you're offering us expertise, but you also have deep knowledge into a world that is changing. And also, I guess, when it comes to your clients, because you do work with clients, right? You're not handling this in an abstract way. You're working with clients, right? You're not teaching in a university, for example. You're seeing people's lives and uncertainty really affecting their lives. So I know you've been busy.
Yes, without question. You mentioned, being on the front lines. I was at a hearing this morning pleading with a judge in Philadelphia to grant my client more time, a client who is in the United States, married to a U.S. citizen, and during other times would have been afforded sufficient time for the government through the immigration agency to work its case. But now, every single time we have a judicial encounter, we have to abide or pursue the law, but also hope that the judge in front of us will understand that due process is not a matter of political partisanship, but one that built the American legal system.
Right. So when we're talking about Abrego Garcia, of course, you don't represent him, but I know you're familiar with this. I mean, this was a major story. So we've heard both sides of this, right? We know that the administration has said, if you're in the country illegally, I mean, you shouldn't be here, and we're going to make sure to take care of that. I'm paraphrasing here, but when it comes to people who could be considered a threat with criminal backgrounds, we've heard the immigration say it's going to be criminals first. So they did say, and I'm saying they, but I'm talking about the administration and, the branches of government that handle this sort of thing, that there was a real reason to detain this individual and to carry out the process that happened thereafter. Of course, we're hearing this judge's ruling, which is interesting because it's going to be controversial. We've already heard from the administration, the Department of Homeland Security, sharply criticizing the judge's decision and vowing to appeal, calling the ruling a naked judicial activism by a judge appointed during the Obama administration. And look, we have seen different administrations handle immigration differently, and illegal immigration, although if my memory serves me correct, former President Obama also did crack down on illegal immigration, probably in different ways. But nevertheless, when we look at this high-profile case, Abrego Garcia has become a face of what is an ongoing back-and-forth battle, for a lack of better terms. How do you break this down?
This is almost like watching Real Housewives of Immigration Law because there's a surprise in every corner. Unfortunately, when we look at immigration law, there's a misconception that federal judges are engaging in judicial activism, when in fact, if you look at the order granted by this judge, she was almost surgical. Uh, is warranted. So imagine, to put in criminal law terms, someone being put on death row, but they have never been in front of a jury of their peers. So everyone in the United States is innocent until proven guilty. That is the basis of our legal system, and that applies to every area of law. So what this judge said to the federal government was, I am not saying you can't deport him. What I'm saying is you cannot keep him in extended detention. He's been in detention for months. And the government said that the only reason why he was in detention is because he wanted to be certain that he could be, or that he would be removed from the United States, deported. But the challenge is
Because they're saying
there
he
is
was a
no
liability,
deportation.
right? Just to break it down, like they're saying he had to be in detention because we want to ensure that we can carry the process out and deport him. They said he has a criminal background, that he's a danger essentially to the public. I'm paraphrasing here, but basically that's what they're saying. Look, we got to keep this guy in detention because we need to make sure we send him back to his homeland, so to speak, right? That's what they're saying.
Yes, but the caveat here is, and the basis of this judicial order is that there is no removal order. An immigration judge has not ruled on whether or not, even if this man is convicted of a criminal charge, and let's be mindful that running a red light is a criminal charge. So we have to allow the courts, immigration, federal, and criminal, to do their work. But is it warranted to keep this man in detention? So it's very important that for attorneys in general, whether or not we're looking at immigration law or criminal law, that we understand and that we educate the public on the importance of due process. And in my legal opinion, this judge was basically confining her decision to the record and to the lack of evidentiary support by the government, that their position that this man had to be in detention because he was going to be deported was supported. They didn't have the removal order, and that's why Abrego Garcia was released today. I'm sure this family is very happy with this Christmas gift, but their battle is far from over.
Yeah, the battle continues for sure. We've already heard the administration say that it will be appealing this. But so he was being held at a detention center in Pennsylvania. The deportation to the prison, so that had happened, and then they brought him back, or?
So he was removed to a high security. His case became a poster child used by
Right.
the administration to show that they could do whatever they wanted to anyone as long as they were an immigrant or justified in immigration law. He was removed to, I believe, El Salvador, to
Yes.
one of the world's most dangerous detention
They
centers.
call it one of the most dangerous facilities, yeah.
Yes. So his family, and I have to give kudos to his American citizen wife who has been fighting this battle. I cannot imagine the pressure that she is under.
Yeah,
So
she's a
he was
mom
brought,
too.
she's a mom, and you know what? I am sure that when we look at the record, it's very important that we look at the record. We need to understand that a man that did not have a deportation order has been removed from the United States. The government defied other judicial rulings and showed that it thought it could do whatever it wanted to an immigrant. But now the federal courts are saying, yes, you have the right to deport anybody you want as long as you follow due process and you show your work, show the record, and comply with due process at all times.
So Abrego Garcia, and of course, there's a lot of minutia that goes into anything that has to do with the judicial system, including immigration, as you know all too well, Renata. You're there going through the minutia for multiple clients all the time. So he's there, he's brought back. Now he's being held in Pennsylvania. Now we know he's released. He's going back to his home in Maryland, where he has, we know, an American wife and children. However, he has said, or it has been confirmed, that he came to the United States illegally as a teenager. Now that means, I mean, we can inference crossing the border is coming to the United States illegally. Now, without getting into all the hard details of his specific situation, typically we've seen that, for years and years, people cross the border, usually the southern border. Most recently, I've covered stories, people crossing the northern border. They request asylum, or they come in some other way. Now, there could be different reasons. So we know that this happened. This administration, and this is the big shift, right? That's changed when it comes to the United States, is saying, look, you've already committed a crime when you come in here illegally, and that alone means we can get you out, right? And so that's what we're hearing this administration say. Now, of course, for years and years, this concept in the United States has been, we will accommodate if you're seeking asylum, you can seek a refuge here. So we've seen a clear shift. Anyone in the system, though, including many of your clients, Abrego Garcia, when I say in the system, I mean that's already here or this has already happened. It's like there's a huge shift of uncertainty that comes with those changes in Washington, D.C.
I think that the shift really is more in relation to, it's important to know that individuals who come through the border cannot be detained criminally if they entered the United States through the border and are pursuing asylum. There is the federal crime of re-entry if you've been deported and re-entered, but it is a crime to come to the United States through the border and not, and bring a family member. That could be, or an individual, that could be a crime of human trafficking. When we look at immigration law, anytime someone says this person entered illegally, what it really means is this person entered without inspection. If you are seeking asylum, the law is unequivocal. You must present yourself at a port of entry. Now, based on my experience, if Abrego Garcia came as a teenager, it is very unlikely that he had agency, that he had the ability to tell his parents whether or not he wanted to come.
So this is a factor that would be considered within an immigration case. You're saying, like, did this person have agency? Were they a minor? These are all things. So elaborating it outside of his case, these are all factors when it comes to the rulings in immigration court, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, it must. And now another step is that in previous administrations, you mentioned the Obama administration, and Obama was really the one that in fact deported the largest number, not invited people to leave through self-deportation, but actually deported individuals. His nickname was Deporter in Chief. Even during the Obama administration, there was a preservation of due process. And in the case of Abrego Garcia, he is married to a U.S. citizen, and he would be allowed to seek a waiver, a carve-out, based on the fact that he has a qualifying relationship to a U.S. citizen. So that is the law.
So that's another question I had. It just seems, I mean, I don't know how long he's been married to this U.S. citizen, but they should have been able to at least start the process, right? Of course, now the federal government is saying that the Department of Homeland Security is saying that he's essentially a national security threat, and that term can be used for anybody who's considered to have a criminal background. So I guess there's two types of narratives here, because somebody might think, okay, if he's married to an American, like, why didn't he move the paperwork through, right? Is it more difficult now for anybody, I mean, elaborating outside of this just topic in general, to even be able to do something like that?
It is certainly more difficult, and having represented a lot of individuals in a similar situation to Abrego Garcia, I think that when children are brought to the United States and they're raised here and they speak English and they're well acclimated, a lot of times they fail to neglect how vulnerable they are legally in the United States as they navigate life. And once it becomes apparent that, yes, they must go ahead and start a process that I must say is very costly. And I can understand why sometimes an individual will procrastinate or put off starting that petition. And then in his case, it became apparent that he had to start doing it. And he was at the wrong place at the wrong time. Cases like his are approved and people receive their green cards throughout the United States. And unfortunately, this family was, randomly selected by the U.S. government to be made an example. And as a result, I cannot imagine the uncertainty that they're feeling and other families are feeling, because you mentioned he's entering the United States without a visa, and individuals call it entering illegally. We are seeing people, we immigration attorneys throughout the United States are seeing people who entered with a visa, don't have a criminal record, married to US citizens, doing the right thing and pursuing their green cards, be randomly arrested at immigration interviews, something that has never happened before. So there is no rhyme or reason. It is unfortunately a matter of the US government choosing, I'm going to say, the theatrics of detention, because yes, the government has the right, has the ability, and should pursue criminal charges to those who commit crimes.
Right.
But entering the United States and marrying a US citizen is not a crime that warrants detention at the very high expense to the US taxpayer.
But if the government is saying that he could have criminal ties, is there an extra layer to this? Because of course, if you're in immigration court, could you end up with a separate case in criminal? I mean, so how does that work, right? Because that actually makes it more complex, like just to kind of explain it to everyone watching tonight.
So if you're an immigrant and you're pursuing an immigration benefit, or you're in front of an immigration judge and you're defending yourself of the possibility of deportation, criminal charges run parallel to your immigration case. However,
parallel as in separate courts, or as in
separate courts.
It cannot come up in immigration court.
It will come up in immigration court.
So it will.
In immigration court,
right,
we actually have the blessing and the curse that we don't really have limitations on admission of evidence. So hearsay, for example, is admissible in immigration court. An immigration judge has a lot of discretion in making a ruling. So depending on the accusation of the type of crime and the evidence that the government presents in the criminal case in a separate court, the immigration judge can actually make a ruling based on discretion and analyze the circumstances and say, this person is not going to be forgiven for the accusation of the crime. And I'm going to emphasize the accusation of a crime. In certain cases, a conviction is needed, but they are able to make that determination. So the immigration judge has a lot of leeway. And now, when we look at the next layer of the Immigration Appellate Court, the Board of Immigration Appeals, we have an even more conservative, I think is the right word, panel that has been really, really hard on appellate decisions. So the immigration judge would have to make a ruling in this case that is so egregious that it would border on discrimination.
Right.
So I think we're going to be speaking a lot about Abrego Garcia, and my heart is with this attorney that's representing him tooth and nail, because he is fighting a battle against the U.S. government that it is, because of the notoriety of this case, it's a much
high profile case for sure. As an immigration attorney, Renata, I have to ask you this question. If the government says that they believe a person is a national security threat, and that's whether it's the Trump administration, another administration, et cetera, does that give, at the end of the day, that's the law of the land, so to speak, or not? So the question being is, if they're saying this individual is dangerous and this is why we had to do this, yes, there's due process, but what is the gray area, or how would you, take a case like this and discuss it in court or break it down? Like, what's the gray area if you're not a citizen when it comes to due process?
You have to look at this individual's ties to the community, his past behavior. Saying that someone is a national security threat just because they're an immigrant, it is really expanding on the concept of a national security threat. You have to show some level of evidence of imminent harm or the likelihood that this individual would act on threats. So what are we looking at? Past behavior, and we're looking at circumstantial evidence. As far as we know, the government has not met its burden to show that Abrego Garcia is someone who is engaged in a life of crime or has killed somebody or is in the process of plotting some kind of violent event. based on the circumstances and the limited information that we have, this really has been a case where the government expanded its discretionary powers and is really grabbing onto this case to make a point.
So
However,
we know Renata, he's back in Maryland with his family. What are
Yes.
your, tapping into your expertise, what do you think we could see next with this?
if I had to make I don't want to call it a prediction, but it really is.
Yeah, an
I have
educated
a
guess. What do you think?
I like that, an educated
Yeah.
guess. I think his immigration case is going to probably land in the hands of the most conservative judge in Maryland, and it'll be a very, very tough battle to show that this man it should be granted the opportunity to live in the United States.
Immigration attorney Renata Castro, thank you for being with us today on Newsroom Live. We really appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me.
All right, we'll take a quick break. It's 8:08. Newsroom Live. It's 8:10 in the evening. I'm Stephanie Bertini. Thanks for being with us. You're taking a look at the White House. There's a ball going on. Having fun. We see Christmas decor, holiday decor. Our Richard Giacovis, he's in the middle of Christmas lights. We're going to go to Brooklyn now. Hey, Richard, we saw you in the first hour. You're back now. Tell us, what's going on? Are the lines getting longer out there? The sidewalks are full. What's happening?
You know, I think people are now taking it to the streets in their cars because the temperature is dropping rapidly here, Stephanie. But it doesn't keep people away from Christmas lights in Dyker Heights because it is one of the best Christmas displays in all of New York City, probably the tri-state area. Especially when you see like these houses behind me. You don't want to see me, so let me show you the house because this is part of the iconic Dyker Heights Christmas. This is Lucy Spottis' house. We spoke to her earlier. She is the one who started this all back in the mid-'80s because her husband was such a fan of Christmas and wanted to just spread cheer into his neighborhood. And we're on 84th Street in the southwest section of Brooklyn here in Dyker Heights. And he started this, and long after he passed, Lucy promised him she was going to continue that tradition on. So those toy soldiers, that living nativity, all those giant inflatables, it goes back decades. And that's just part of what her tradition is and how she wants to keep it. But, you know, even when you're coming here to Dyker Heights, you meet people from all over. There's somebody who passed by us just a few minutes ago who's like, oh, we just saw you doing the story on TV, so we got in the car and came here. So is it worth the 2 hours of traffic? I think so.
Were they tourists or locals? Because you were talking to some tourists too. Was it North Carolina?
Yes, the North Carolina people. I have more people. Come here, Wading River people. These people, you know how far Wading River is? Yeah. How long did it take you guys to get here?
An hour and a half, a little bit of traffic, but it's well worth it for the Christmas magic, right?
Yeah, so tell me what brought you here. Was this planned? Did you want to do this? Tell me.
It was planned, we just wanted to see the lights. Everyone is so committed to the magic and the beauty, and it's just, there's nothing like it. And it's her first time.
Microphone.
We got a first timer.
I want to see it.
She's got stage fright.
Stage fright. Maybe she's cold.
She's probably
Put her in the car.
It's a little bit cold, but
yeah, just a little bit.
When she cries a lot, that means she's feeling good.
Are you excited to see all the lights and Santa?
Yeah, tell me.
Yeah.
Do you like this? What'd you think when you saw this?
It was really cool.
Aww.
Really cool.
Yeah. All right.
The best ever.
Merry
You see, that's
It is
Happy
really
holidays.
cool.
You're trying out for my job, aren't you? She's got it.
You know.
Okay, bye guys.
Uh,
You saw the lights, now go warm up.
Richard,
Put the baby inside now.
Richard,
All right.
we were talking about the
She's
kids.
cold, the baby.
Yeah, the baby's cold. Richard, we're talking about the kids. You're
Yeah.
a parent, I'm a parent, we both have little ones. And it's like, you said something that really resonated with me. We think about the kids because we want to experience it through their eyes, right? I always say, I'm the magic. I'm the Christmas magic, Richard.
We are. I heard you before when you said that. We are. Well, we are in touch with Santa, and he talks to us, and we tell him what to bring, and
There's
he
the
knows
communication.
if they're good, he knows if they're bad.
Yes.
Yes,
Look at
but
that.
seeing it through their eyes and the innocence, to me, that is the best thing ever, because the belief in Christmas, the belief in Santa Claus, the belief that there could actually be real magic, it's something that I think keeps us going this holiday season.
And
it takes away that's what takes away all the stresses, I think.
100%. And it looks really, really magical. We're looking at a wide view of where you are, so we could see you in the live shot. Now we're looking at aerial shots, and it really, really looks magical where you are.
We have aerial
Richard.
shots?
We do. We have aerial shots.
Where are they?
Oh, that was yesterday. Same location.
Is the chopper flying?
Yeah. So that was yesterday. So aerial shots yesterday, same location.
Oh, it was yesterday.
But it expands the view of what we're seeing, and we're seeing you on the ground with the house behind you where it all started. So can you get into that a little more for us? So she said she started it, but now it's really grown, right? I mean, I just saw that video. I hadn't seen that before.
She was the only house on the block.
Right.
And then I think whoever, whether there were neighbors here, she would go to these homes and these neighbors and even new people that still come in, and she's like, hey, you know what happens here in December?
Yeah.
And they're like, oh yeah, Christmas, right? She's like, yeah, you have to decorate. So yeah, I would say that every house on this block and the blocks that are adjacent to it and around it, they're still decorating. I mean, because remember, you're going, if you're familiar with this area, it spans 2 avenues and about 5 blocks, street blocks. So, I mean, like you can drive it, you can walk it. There's little stands to stop and get hot chocolate and little snacks. I mean, people get really into it. Like they create their own little village here.
Yeah.
And that's just part of the magic of New York City at Christmas. This is it.
And I heard you say when you were introing this that they did this, the couple that originally started because they wanted something free, a free experience. Is this still all free, or are they monetizing this in any way? Because it looks like they have a whole village, as you put it, going on there.
Well, I think everybody tries to make a buck even when it's free. You can make it free.
Yeah.
Because you can come and just walk around and look at the lights, but you may want to indulge in buying the hot chocolate. And there's people who bake and they sell their stuff. And I get it. That's just part of it.
And the kids are going to want this and that.
The people who come in on the tours. Because there actually might be some souvenirs too. Yeah. Of course.
There you go.
Like the circus. But for the people who come in on the tour buses, and that's really a bulk of where a lot of these people are coming from, the tourists.
Yeah.
Those are paid tours.
Right.
So you sign up, and it's part of different New York City stops, with Diker Heights being like the center attraction. So we've seen that.
But what you're saying is that the essence of this, how it started, is still maintained, where just to walk on the sidewalk and take a look at the lights and experience that holiday magic, you can do that without having to dig into your pocket, so to speak. But there's a lot going on because this is taking on a life of its own.
Totally. And
Yeah.
you know, that's the greatest thing. I mean, how many things are free today? How many things
Right.
can you just come and get in the car
Right.
and
Yeah.
just, you know, come and look at, or you know, take the bus to the nearest stop and just walk over and do like a little walking tour and create that for your children. So
Yeah.
take advantage of it, because it's just as magical as you see now. And it's really busy before Christmas. What Lucy was telling me,
Yeah.
once Christmas ends, they do keep the lights up into January, like into mid-January.
Yeah.
January, there's nothing to do. So come and see it in January, just because the Christmas holiday's over. The lights and the decorations and all that still live on.
Yeah, absolutely. Our Richard Giacovis there in Diker Heights in Brooklyn. Love the assignment. The best of the best on it. Thanks, Richard. I know you're cold, so try to warm up a bit.
Oh, can you tell?
A little bit, yeah. And I'm assuming, too, because I just did the forecast a little while ago. I know the temperatures out there, so.
It must be dropping. It's going down. So
Well, you got
you know,
your
we'll be
gloves.
back out here, though, later on.
You got your
Okay.
gloves.
Thanks,
and so,
Steph.
you have a good time
I do.
out there, Richard. Thank you. Bye.
I'm going to go party with hot chocolate.
Have fun. All right, we'll take a quick break. It's 8:18. I'm Stephanie Bertini. This is Newsroom Live. This is Newsroom Live, 8:21. Now, tomorrow night, a pretty interesting big concert for a very good cause. It's at UBS on Long Island. We're going to bring in Tizan Chin, who will be performing. She's a Jamaican singer. And this entire thing, and I'm hearing some pretty big names, other than yourself, of course, performing, is all for relief in Jamaica.
Yes.
Jamaica's still recovering from what was a very devastating hurricane, and you live there.
Yes, I do. I do. So I can see firsthand the need, and it's absolutely necessary. And we are asking all our diaspora, all our friends, all the friends of Jamaica to help support us. And we're doing that in true Jamaican form by, through music, which is a big
Yeah.
part of our culture. It's a big part of who we are.
So integral
So,
to the culture, right?
absolutely,
I'm
yeah.
hearing Shaggy and Sean Paul are going to be performing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll be on the stage tomorrow. So the
Mhm,
goal
mhm.
is to raise $1 million. Is that right?
I believe so. I think the goal is just at this point to raise as much
As
as we
much as
possibly can.
possible, right? So
Yeah,
look. Monetary wise, the money is needed because there's rebuilding going on, and this is not a
absolutely.
small feat, right? Um,
It's not.
So Hurricane Melissa, it was earlier this year, was a huge headline, and we were watching it from New York City. We were covering it. We're looking at video now of the aftermath. But even when that system was approaching Jamaica, a lot of people were concerned, especially
Absolutely.
people with ties to their homeland, Jamaicans living in the tri-state in New York City. I talked to many of them. But for you, I mean, you were on the ground to San. That must have been horrifying.
Mhm. Well, you know what? It absolutely was. It was very scary. And, where we were in Kingston, by the grace of God, we didn't get hit nearly as badly as other parts of the island. And, people have lost their entire livelihoods. They've lost their homes. Schools have been flattened. There's no work to go to. There's nothing to start from. They're really starting from scratch. And, it's a dire situation. But I have to say that as a nation, we're trying to pull together to be our brother's keeper and to try and do the best that we can from the areas that haven't been as heavily affected. And Jamaicans, we have a truly incredible spirit to try and see the positive in even the darkest days. So we are trying to do the best that we can to give back in any way that we can or be of service to our country and our people in any way that we can.
Of course, in a situation like this, it's all about community and the international community by extension. And there's so many people who live here in the tri-state who have ties
Mhm.
to Jamaica. Now, you yourself, Tasad, you're no stranger to the stage. Some people might recognize you for winning season 5 of The Voice. That's right.
Yes, yes.
So, did you train, like vocal training in Jamaica, or was it just kind of a hobby? You mentioned the music, the dancing, it's such an integral part of the culture.
It is.
Tell us a bit. There you are, we have you there, one of your music videos. Tell us a bit about your background and what you hope to bring to the stage. Of course, this is a fundraising initiative, but it's performance too, right?
Mhm. For me, you said it perfectly. A part of our culture is our music, is our performing arts, is our sports, is our food. So it's basically something that I grew up into and something I grew up with, and I'm very proud of, and very proud to continue that tradition now because we have our own performing arts school in Jamaica called Voice Box Performing Arts. So we're very happy
Wow.
about that. We continue that tradition. But in terms of tomorrow night, it's just about being able, like I said, to kind of make lemonade out of limes.
Yes. Yeah, make the best out of a huge curveball, so to
Right.
speak. I mean, the way you're putting it is it's just interesting because, you see the worst of things. And with something like a natural disaster, you can't control that, right? What's going to happen is going to happen. But it brings to light what could be the worst of things, and also just like all the fear with the build up to it. And then after something like this, and I've covered a lot of different big weather events, people, especially, after it's all done, it's like you look around, you see what got damaged, you feel intense grief for any lives lost, but then you also start to look at life a little different. You
Absolutely.
appreciate it to be able to get out of that and that your loved ones are okay. I mean, tell us for you, how are you feeling now that, of course, Jamaica is still in this recovery, rebuilding phase, but how are you feeling and how did this experience change you?
Do you know what? It's I can say that as a collective in Jamaica, there was a real reality, a real heaviness, if I'm being completely honest. And,
Yeah.
so many people, like, we don't want to sing, we don't want to celebrate, we don't want to, it's almost like it was a grieving
Like the
that we
joy
were
was
going
ripped
through.
away, you're saying, from day to day.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
it,
How could it not
absolutely.
be?
Yeah, and even though, like I said, in Kingston, things are pretty much back to normal, it's really like, how can we feel like we're back to normal when if you drive a couple hours away, people are in absolute desperation? It's just like the craziest thing. So in true Jamaican style, though, we have to find a way to get past that. And honestly, our people are some of not just the most resilient, but the most indomitable spirits that you can imagine. And they still manage in everything that is going on. The people that have been hit the hardest to see the positivity and to see the good and to see light even in that situation. And it's just a continuous reminder and inspiration that no matter what, we can always find a way.
Yes, of course.
You know,
You know,
to
it's the juxtaposition because we're looking at video again of the aftermath, just kind of bringing those watching back there. But island nations in general are extra vulnerable when it comes to something like the potential for a hurricane. And I had talked to a lot of people. Some who are from Jamaica but living in New York in the days when we were anticipating that Hurricane Melissa might hit, and they said we've escaped before, we've been lucky before, so there was that sentiment, right, of maybe it'll be okay this time. We know it turned out differently, right? But as you look around, can you kind of communicate with us? I mean, when something like this happens, aside from property being damaged and the potential of, people losing their lives, there's a lot to rebuild. I mean, sometimes people are left with nothing, no clothes. There could be a lack of medical supplies. There's a lot of need.
Yeah.
And we're hearing there's a lot of need in Jamaica right now.
Absolutely. And the thing is about Jamaicans as well, we're also very proud people. You know what I mean? So it is something where how do you build back from a place of scratch when you've already worked your entire life to have what you have?
Yeah, and now
You know what I
nothing's
mean?
there.
So, but again, we have to focus on what it is that we can do. And what we can do is that we can perform tomorrow night. We can lend our voices and our talents. We can invite people to come out to the concert tomorrow because every ticket is a donation that goes straight back to the hurricane relief. And that is what we are focused on, is that we can be part of a solution. So we know that this horrible thing has happened, but we know that one thing about Jamaicans and one thing about Caribbean people as well is that we are stronger together. And when we pull together, we can do incredible things. And that is what we're looking to do tomorrow night at the UBS Arena.
Yeah, tomorrow night at the UBS Arena, tickets, we were looking at the flyer there, started at $99. So obviously the money, like you said, the proceeds will go to bringing relief to Jamaica. We're taking a look at that flyer. Again, Jamaica Strong benefit concert tomorrow night. Sanchin, thank you so much for taking the time. And I can tell that this is a cause that's very dear to your heart. Of course, this is your country we're talking about. But, for you to take the time, I know you flew in today to be here on Newsroom Live. We really do appreciate it.
Well, I thank you very much for giving us a chance to be able to tell people about our concert. Thank you.
All right. Well, best of luck on the stage tomorrow. I hope you get a great turnout, and we'll be looking to see how it all goes. And again, all for a good cause to bring some very much needed relief to Jamaica after that devastating hurricane. And we see the resilience. You touched on, the culture, the essence, the food, the music, the dancing, and that backbone of resilience. And we see that evident tonight in your interview. So thank you for sharing.
Thank you very much.
All right. We'll take a quick break. looks like it's busy. Rockefeller Center, it's that time of year where the tourists come. The locals are either hiding, Nick, or they're in the mix of that, especially if you're like me and your family comes to town. Sure. But a beautiful tree. Weather I could do for a little warmer, but...
Well, yeah, you saw the flags going out there.
Yeah.
No, that's a bit of a restaurant. Because the wind chills are getting it is cold out there this evening. Once again, after a little break from that real cold yesterday.
So I was in Florida. I told you I was going last time we were together. I just got back. It was like...
Where's the warm weather? You're supposed to bring it back, right?
I tried.
They
I
got
tried to give you a call. I was going to send it.
They took it at security.
So what's the main weather story? So it was cold. It got a little warmer. Now it's getting cold again.
Yeah, we got to the mid and upper 40s yesterday. So I mean, the average high is still like 46 degrees or so. But now we're back in the cold. Today was mostly in the mid 30s most of the day. Same thing tomorrow. Same thing on Saturday. And again, right now, if you're going outside, look at the wind chills. We're talking teens just about everywhere you go. So again, the cold is back. It's a gusty west wind. That can be rather breezy again for tomorrow. Nothing yet on the radar. A couple of snow showers well offshore. So we were thinking maybe we'd see a couple of snow showers today, but they didn't really happen. So that's I guess that's a good thing.
So although I could do without the cold, Nick, I do love the snow, and I want to know when it's coming.
Well, I'm happy that you asked me that question because I actually have an answer.
Tell me.
So Sunday morning. Yes, we're going to be watching. We're going to be watching. Now you can see there are snow showers up north. These are lake effect squalls.
Okay.
That's not coming our way. That's not what I'm talking about for our snow. There's actually a system that's up right now all the way in western Canada. And there's one system that's arriving before that. You can see on the picture here. It's bringing snow from Iowa right on down almost into Kentucky. But that storm's going to pass to our south.
Okay.
It's the one behind it that's coming for early Sunday morning.
Yeah.
And that one's going to be a little bit closer. It's going to be a swath of snow, and the potential is for maybe 1 to 3 inches of snow.
I was going to say, do we know how much yet?
Yeah,
So
I think. I mean, it's a 1 to 3. I think those of you, and people in central, in particular, maybe into southern New Jersey, might get 3 to 5. But it's going to be 1 to 3, and the problem is going to be on Sunday. It's going to be a cold day. We're not probably going to get above 30 degrees.
Yeah.
So whatever falls is going to stick.
Yeah.
And it's going to make for some slippery travel on Sunday
So
morning.
that's sort of an alert.
Yes.
to let people
So
know.
be prepared for that. Because it hasn't really snowed significantly yet around
it's
here.
It's like the first time, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so when it snows for the first time, everybody goes into a panic.
Yeah.
And forgets how to drive in the snow.
You know who's going to be really excited on Sunday morning? My kid, when he looks out the window and I'm going to get the mommy, it's snow. It's like every time he's seen, he's only been alive for 6 years, but every year.
All right.
It's like,
does he have a sled to try out on Sunday afternoon?
No, but I might have to. You know, we lived in Florida for a while, but now that we're here, we got to get all the gear. He does have the boots. He's ready to go.
Okay, well, that's good. Well, tonight, I hope he's dressing warm if he's going outside, because look at these temperatures overnight.
Yeah.
We're talking teens to mid-20s, and then tomorrow, again, it's still a bit windy. But a beautiful day tomorrow, sunny, but only low and middle 30s. The average high, like I said, is about 45 or 46 degrees. We're about 10 degrees below average here for tomorrow. And then you're going to see in the 7-day that's coming up here momentarily that Saturday is just going to feature a lot of clouds. We actually will get to 40 degrees on Saturday with that snow coming in very late at night, really early Sunday morning.
You know, that's what I was going to ask you as you get into this. I was looking at those numbers. I'm like, isn't this cold for this time?
It's very cold, yeah. Again, and you can see Monday, 20, high 30. So Sunday, Monday, very cold days.
Yeah.
Look at Thursday, though. 50. So just hang in there.
But I see rain. Maybe we won't get that much of it. Do we know yet?
Yeah, that's too early for that. Let's get through the snow first.
All right.
Today was a windy day. Look at those wind gusts, 40, 50 miles per hour. From from Suffolk County, Long Island, there, Nassau County, there, Bayville, 51, Newark, Elizabeth in New Jersey, there, mid 40 mile per hour range. So it was a hang on to your hat and small dogs and small pets and that kind of thing.
Umbrellas, if we didn't need them today, but
no.
Yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday we did, exactly. And
look, this is my verdict. As we all know, we've talked about this several times, I don't really love the cold. But worse than the cold is the rain, especially in the cold.
Exactly.
Yesterday we felt that.
Yeah, and when you get that in New York, you're right. It's just it's damp, it's cold, it's just At least if it's cold, let the snow fly.
Yeah, and with the sunshine, like some of the forecasts, I mean, you can kind of enjoy it in the day.
You can, as long as it's not too windy.
Yeah.
Because then you're like, again, right now the wind is making it feel like it's in the teens. So that's. Even though, even in the middle of the day, if it's sunny, but the temperature's only about 30 and the wind's gusting 20, 25 miles an hour, that puts wind chill in the teens. So, so that makes it still, yeah, exactly.
That's the theme.
You got to dress appropriately for sure.
Well, thanks for being with us tonight.
Thank
we
you.
appreciate it. All right, we'll take a quick break. Are you in the holiday spirit? That's the Rockefeller tree, and we see people all around in Manhattan enjoying the lights, enjoying the vibes. It's that time of year. 8:40 in the evening. I'm Stephanie Bertini. It's Thursday, December 11th. This is Newsroom Live. Thanks for being with us. We are live at the Fox 5 Newsroom. We are in our headquarters on the Upper East Side. We're going to get to some of our top stories. Luigi Mangione back in court today. If you were with us in the 7 o'clock hour, we heard from former prosecutor and defense attorney Peter Franco. He was kind of breaking down what's happening. They're in pretrial hearings right now, and central to the pretrial is what evidence will be allowed or not in the trial. And as we heard Franco say, it's important because a jury has to be selected. So what we're hearing the defense say is, look, we got to make sure that Mangione has a fair trial and that the jurors that are selected can be unbiased. Of course, that's what happens in the criminal justice system with any trial. So the factors here all are around the fact that this is already such a high-profile case. So will there be certain pieces of evidence allowed? We're looking at the backpack. The backpack is central to a lot of dialogue when it comes to the pretrial, because what we're hearing the defense say is that, you know, there wasn't a warrant to search that backpack. Of course, prosecutors are saying that officers, this is in Altoona, Pennsylvania, you're looking at some body cam video that's been now made public from last year. This case now in pretrial, almost a year after that United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson was killed. Mangione is accused in his death. I have Sharon Crowley here, my colleague.
You know,
we're talking Mangione,
such
Sharon.
a pivotal case, Stephanie, really, and really, this evidence that we're talking about here is key to the prosecution. I mean, if they lose and they get it kicked out, obviously at issue is whether or not the gun, the silencer, and the manifesto will be kept in this case. That's what these pretrial suppression hearings are all about. And if for some reason the judge decides to dismiss them because they don't feel that Luigi Mangione got his constitutional rights because he wasn't read the Miranda and before they searched the backpack, that could be huge for the outcome of this case when you consider the prosecutors say that murder weapon is the one that was used in Midtown Manhattan in December of last year. They say that the ballistics match, that's the murder weapon, and it was in his knapsack according to the prosecution. And if that gets tossed out of this case, it could be key. And I'm told that it could take a few weeks before we find out what the judge's ruling is on this, but it'll make all the difference in the prosecution's case, depending on
it'll
what happens.
really affect what happens in the trial for sure. So when it comes to the prosecution, obviously the prosecution is saying, look, police officers, and we've heard from police officers on the stand, Altoona police officers, they've painted a picture that they knew who he was. And so the whole idea is, how does that come into play? Was a search warrant required when you think, there could be something in that backpack, or there could be a danger? There was a manhunt going on.
I know, and we all remember what that was like around here. I mean, and he wasn't caught for 5 days, and people were really concerned for their safety. So it'll be very interesting, Stephanie, to see what happens going forward. And the next few months is when we're expecting for this trial to actually begin. But what happens in these next few days and the judge's ruling is just going to be central to how the case proceeds from here.
Like you said, this is a big deal. A lot of people have eyes on this. This case has really taken on a life of its own. I was talking with our colleague Lisa Evers when we were covering the beginnings of the pretrial, and it was like, this has gone viral on social media, and he does have a following, right?
Well, that's something that's hard to really understand, wrap your head around, that there would be a fan club, if you will, for a person that is accused of murder. And I think a lot of it has to do, Stephanie, with the fact that there's a lot of anger against the healthcare industry, and there's a lot of resentment. And and speaking of healthcare, after this break, we're going to talk to you a little bit about the healthcare premiums that are poised to go up for millions of Americans who are on
That's your story tonight?
It is my story that I'm working on tonight, but I joined you a little early, and when I heard you talking about it, I've been covering Mangione as well, and it's why the whole country is kind of watching what's happening in Lower Manhattan.
100%. So we'll take a break, and then we'll get on Sharon's story for today when we come back. Thanks,
I
Sharon.
can't wait. Sounds good, Steph.
Newsroom Live, 8:47 in the evening. Happy Thursday, everyone. December 11th. I'm Stephanie Bertini, and I'm here with my colleague Sharon Crowley. We were just looking outside. We're in the holiday spirit here.
I am. I'm kind of dressed like a package.
There you are.
Gift wrapped myself today for the work day to kind of get myself in the holiday spirit. And we were just looking, who's walking around Manhattan today?
Yeah, so we have a camera down there. Can we get to the camera?
Yeah, let's look. I think I saw some holiday love out there as they were taking selfies in their Santa outfits.
You know, that's right by our Fox headquarters, the mothership, as we call it.
That's right, the mothership on 6th Avenue. They have beautiful Christmas decorations, and they have a beautiful Christmas tree also outside the Fox News channel there on 6th Avenue, not too far from Radio City Music Hall. And just a few seconds ago, we were watching some tourists because some of our team members, apparently, Stephanie, as you've been telling our viewers, have been marching all over the island of Manhattan showing us Christmas lights. There it is. There's the tree outside Fox.
Love it. Look
we
at
don't
that.
have a tree. We have trees inside here, but we don't have them outside.
We don't have them outside because, you know, we're on the Upper East Side. We're smack in the middle, city life here. But you know, Sharon, looking to screen right that traffic, I mean, because, you know, we don't drive. We live in Manhattan, both of us.
Well,
so I've
we're
been
smart
in these
enough
Ubers.
not to drive.
Yeah, and I've been in these Ubers and I'm paying more because it's busy out
Surge
there.
pricing. It's gridlock alert times. If you're planning to come into the city, of course, I suggest mass transit is your best option.
There you go.
But I want to take us, Stephanie, from New York City to the United States Capitol. Let's go to Washington, D.C. Let's look at a live picture. Brian Kay on keyboards, as I like to say, and Brendan on assist. There it is, the U.S. Capitol. Now, it looks quiet, and guess what? It is, Stephanie, because nothing got done today.
Talk to me.
All right, here's the deal. There are millions of Americans, and their health care premiums are poised to soar come January 1st unless lawmakers and the president can get together and either extend the subsidies, the Affordable Care Act subsidies, or come up with some other plan to fix it. And Republicans and Democrats are divided. And today, in Capitol Hill, two, not one, but two Senate bills failed to pass. And now the House is taking things up, and they're trying to say they have a bipartisan compromise in the works, but we'll see. The Senate rejected legislation that would have extended the Affordable Care Act tax credits. Otherwise, in English, that means keeping those premiums low.
Right.
And after January 1st, they're about to go high, high, high. And that will really be devastating for so many families around this country. And there's a lot of political pressure, too. Everything is tied to politics, of course, as you know.
Yeah.
And we're at 2026 means we are poised to get ready for the midterm elections in the fall of 2026. And everything on Trump's agenda, is at stake because the Republicans hold such a slim majority in Congress that if they don't figure out this health care problem, it could really come back to bite them in the fall at the election. But part of the problem is that Democrats and Republicans are at odds over how to fix this plan. Republicans believe that it's rife with fraud. They're faulting the Biden administration from during COVID times, putting more money into it and causing all kinds of problems. But they really don't have a plan of their own. They haven't brought to the table something that everybody can agree on. So and anytime you press Republican leadership on this issue, they say they're working on it. But today, two Senate bills failed. And Democrats, what they want to do, similar to the government shutdown, they really just want to extend the subsidies for a year or two or some portion of time so that nobody suffers and your health care premiums stay where they are now.
Right.
And then they have time to negotiate further, which is kind of always their reasoning in Washington, right? I know you're from a Canadian roots here, but here in the United States, well, we have trouble getting along with one another, I have to say.
This has happened. I mean, you've been a reporter. You've covered politics for a long time, so you know what you're talking about for sure.
Yeah, and so right now, where things stand in Washington is that the House may vote in the next couple of days. But the idea was to get something passed, either extending what we currently have or a new plan before Christmas recess. But that is coming up right upon us next week. Monday is the 15th of December. And the 25th, just 10 days after that, if my math is correct. And, these lawmakers go home. They go back to their districts.
So if
and they
nothing
might get
happens,
an earful.
what happens to the people and their health insurance?
Well, they're going to go up. I mean, they're going to go up starting January 1st, which is just a few weeks away.
Right.
And the hope is maybe they will continue negotiating, and perhaps by February 1st they'll have something. But it is really scary if you are someone who relies on this health insurance. You don't want your health insurance premiums to be canceled. We know how strict they are. You can't miss a payment, right?
No.
You can't miss a payment or they cancel it right away.
Yeah.
I mean, that's, it's happened to me, believe it or not, that I missed a payment
they'll
one
pick
time.
it up if you pay.
And now I never miss a payment. I pay like the year of premiums in full before the year starts.
Yeah, because you don't want to be in that situation, especially if there's an emergency.
You have to appeal it, and then you're basically going without coverage. And if you have any kind of catastrophic illness or chronic disease, obviously this would be terrible. It would be terrible for any of us.
You know, it's concerning though in this economic climate, especially coming off of the holidays. A lot of people already are, trying to recover off of the holidays. So this would just be like being slapped with a little more. It can be stress-inducing.
Yes, and it's a political football, and both parties pointing blame at the other, but voters point fingers right back at both parties for sure in Washington. So that's the very latest from D.C.
Thanks,
but
Jen.
I think when we come back, Steph, I think we should go back and see the holiday lights
Let's
again.
do
What
that.
do you think?
We're in the holiday
I want
spirit.
to put people in a good mood.
And
I don't want to tell
Brian
you about
Kay
rising prices.
has the music.
Oh, yes.
There he is.
Let's hear it.
I've been dancing all night.
Okay.
Get to my
I don't really hear it, but I'll just follow your lead.
Let's take a break here.
Oh, there we go. There we go.
Live. The Christmas in NYC walking tour is live on our Fox local app right now, and we are live on the Fox local app right now. So you'd have to switch YouTube channels, or like, well, it's our channel, but you gotta do the click.
Yeah, if you go to the YouTube Fox 5
you can watch
NY,
us or that.
you can watch Newsroom Live, or
yes,
if you just only want to watch the scroll, but you can keep it right here.
We got the stroll video. That's what they're streaming.
Creative Services out there on hoofing it in this cold, chilly night.
With
and
the
give you a tour.
With
if you want to stay warm where you are and watch us or watch the stroll, we're doing a live YouTube stroll tour right now, right?
Yeah, and hang on, because we're, just a couple of minutes. We're going to stay with you.
And you can comment, add your comments in the...
We love the comments.
We love the comments, but they have to be nice Christmas time or holiday time comments that show the feeling of the season.
A lot of people are leaning into that feeling of the season. You see all of that. Look at those giant candy canes. But you see decor all around.
Have you seen, do you know that Good Day is doing Good Day Cares tomorrow?
Oh, yes, I heard.
My understanding is that our executive producers are all going to dress up as elves, and they're going to be taking in the donations as they come. And, our executive producer has made like a ton of people have responded, so it's going to be pretty exciting on Good Day tomorrow. But tonight we're getting ready for the 10 o'clock news.
Yeah, we're
working.
But
here. First,
we're live in Midtown. And so I was saying, there's a lot of tourists down there. They always come at this time of year. Also locals, you know, Sharon, I was telling Nick when he was here for weather, the locals are either hiding, like do not want to be in these crowds, or leaning into it. I lean in because I usually get visitors at this time of year.
Well, do you take your son with you?
Yeah, my son.
Has he seen everything?
This year, my whole family's coming down for Christmas, so we'll be doing all these things. Yeah, we'll be walking around doing this and that, and it's fun.
And they want to see the tree, and you can go skating in Rockefeller Center. You can go to the Radio City Rockettes because they're celebrating 100 years.
Yeah,
so
we are going to the Rockettes.
Oh, you are? You're going to love it. They have all kinds of new stuff this year.
Yeah.
It's really cool, and stuff flies through the air, and your son's going to love it, I have to say. But New York looks great. The only thing we're missing, Stephanie, to get in the holiday spirit, wouldn't you say, is snow. We need a little snow. I'd like a white Christmas.
So it's coming,
There's
apparently.
Radio City.
The snow's coming this weekend.
Yeah,
did you see the forecast?
I did see that. I heard Liv and Nick tell us that. So that's good. But
it won't hold till Christmas, though. We're going to need another batch.
Yeah, that's okay. It gives people, if it's not snowing, people have time to get where they need to go to see grandma or wherever they're on their way. But it's a very exciting time of year to be living in New York.
It's no secret with my Florida ties that I don't love the cold, but I do love the snow.
You do?
Okay, I do. Are you a snow fan?
Depends.
Well, working in the snow or slush. Yeah, that's the
if
thing.
I'm working in the snow, I'm going to have to say maybe not so much. But if I'm skiing down the mountain, maybe yes.
Yes,
that
would
be nice.
You ski, Sharon? I didn't know that.
Well, again, a fair weather skier. I grew up my whole life skiing in like Vermont and New Hampshire, Massachusetts. And it's ice and moguls and freezing and uncomfortable. And then as an adult, someone took me out to Steamboat Springs, Colorado, and all of a sudden you could ski with like a pair of jeans on, and it's wide open and beautiful, and it's powdery, and I had no idea that such joy could happen down the ski slopes.
The things we learn on Newsroom Live. Sharon apparently has a robust skiing background and continues to ski today.
Yes.
I don't really ski. I mean, I've cross-country skied. Like, I don't really go downhill.
Yeah, I like skating too.
Yeah, I love skating. I do.
Keeps us moving.
Yeah.
This has been delightful, Stephanie. Thank
it's
you
always
for inviting
delightful
me.
with you, Sharon Crowley. This is Newsroom Live. It's 8:59, 9 o'clock.
Thanks for watching Fox 5's Newsroom Live. We're now joining Live Now's non-stop stream of live and breaking news.
Here, of course, the votes in today were part of the deal that Senate Majority Leader John Thune had made with Democrats to end the government shutdown last month. So what does this mean for those efforts? Does this mean that the shutdown was basically for nothing? You know, what comes from that aspect?
Yeah, I think what a lot of people are watching is that, you know, the next funding deadline is January 30th. It's not that far away, especially when we can take into account that Congress is leaving soon for the holiday break and not coming back until January. That's going to give them less than a month to figure out a funding deal. And there's no